Welcome back to RWR Plays TEW2020, our local to global series playing as the Random Wrestling Revue, and we are carrying on directly from where we were at the end of the last episode. In April 1997, we just made an overture to ECMO to come in, the man who would go on to be Umaga. I think that makes sense given what we've just said. I now need to find myself a heel that I want to bring in, and maybe New Jack? Don't know. Maybe Perry Saturn. He's very, very good, isn't he? I think we're going to bring in Perry Saturn. I think that is who I want. How much is he going to cost me? Oh, $180 per show. I'm going to bulk at that for the time being. I mean, I might not need to. He might be fine, but we are pushing our own boundaries a little bit in terms of how much money we're spending. Shane Douglas is going to be even more expensive, no doubt. I mean, I guess by this point, Perry Saturn would be firmly established in ECW and USWA, so he's a pretty in demand worker, and he's a very good wrestler as well. So it makes all sense that he's not cheap for me, but it just means I can't use him, which is a real shame. Now, actually, I've got this on minimum size light heavyweight. What I'm going to do here is maximum size middleweight instead for this one, just to give a different. I like to have different sized wrestlers in my promotions. I just always have done. I like the variety. But who can we have as a? We could have Christopher Daniels come in. I've thought about him in the past. $100 per show though, so still a little bit more expensive than I'd like to spend at this time. We're looking for a heel. Hang on, to hire. Let's put. Oh no, to hire's on. Yeah, we're looking for a heel. I don't know who it's going to be, to be honest, because I want somebody to come in who can. I quite like the idea of Perry Saturn. He seemed like a really. I instantly had thoughts about what we could do with him when I saw him, and I'm trying to look for something similar to that now. But I'm also coming up against a problem in terms of money. I don't want to spend huge amounts of money on wrestlers. Could we bring in Lenny Lane? There's something about Lenny Lane. I'm not really sure I want to. I don't know if I want him. I just think he's just a little too close to maybe what we've already got. And I'm looking for somebody unique, somebody we haven't got a lot of on the in the company at the moment. To be honest, what I want is what I saw in Perry Saturn. I'm tempted to just go back and pay the money for him, to be honest. But he's known, and I feel like that would have to be something that I used. Like what I mean by that is that because people know him in general on the wrestling scene, on the independent wrestling scene, he's known to the audience. I'd have to address that. I couldn't just bring him in as an unknown. And actually, what I'd like to do is bring somebody in as an unknown, but who also um, has a similar feel about him. Maybe Ace Steel, maybe. Um, hmm, this is taxing me a little bit here. I'm usually a bit quicker than that. I mean, we have opened up as well the 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 wrestling world in terms of who we can use. So that's another thing that's kind of changed since the past, where we've been able to sign someone instantly and not look back. I'm going to go with Ace Steel here. So obviously, back in 1997, no one knew who Ace Steel was. A little bit better known now, but I think I'm going to bring him in. So those are the two signings I've made. We've got Wayne versus Blitzkrieg 3 in 12 days ready to go. And that will be, of course, to determine the new number one contender. Although Sean Stasiak also, I think, has 2 wins at this point, and I haven't updated my spreadsheet, which keeps that record of that this time around. So I'll have to make sure of that after this episode, after I recorded this episode. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to advance to the next player controlled show. Forgive me, I'm going to try and bring up a spreadsheet because I just want to make sure that we've not done something really stupid. I've got to remember who won the matches on the last show. So obviously we had Stasiak get another win. And what's this? This will be the signings. Ace still is complete. We still need to wait for ECMO to sign. Stasiak won his match. Blitzkrieg won, and so did Buddy Wayne. And this is the signing now of ECMO. Perfect. There we go. And we have Michael Modest with, of course. Not that that's as important. Stasiak beat Kid Chaos. And it was Ed Moretti, who still hasn't won a match, by the way. He's lost 3 matches. All of his matches up to this point. And yeah, that's where we are. So yeah, Sean Stasiak, Buddy Wayne, and Blitzkrieg all have 2 wins. Or 2 points, I think we'll call it. Because they get a point every time they win, but then they lose their points when the um when when they lose the title match. So Stasiak theoretically should also be in line for a title shot, but it's been decided that Buddy Wayne and Blitzkrieg will get a chance to become the number 1 contender in the main event of our next show. And we're obviously going to add these new wrestlers to our list as well of wrestlers. So we've you know we've expanded the roster, and it's now up to 10 wrestlers since we've obviously got rid of Chemo. And what I'm going to do for Chemo is just archive his record. So I'm doing this all off screen, so this is probably really annoying for you, but I'm just updating my records so that they are, um, you know, they are reflective of where we are in the roster. So that's all happened now. Saturday, week 2, April, we're going into our next show. I haven't really thought a lot about what's going to be here. We know what the main event's going to be. So let's just put that in straight away. It's Buddy Wayne and it's Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg's got, of course, he's carrying his injury, so that's going to slow him down. This isn't going to be a great match, I would have thought. We'll make it go 20 minutes, though, because I'm cruel. I'm really cruel. But I think we're going to have Buddy Wayne win this one again. Although Buddy Wayne won the last one, and that's fine. Blitzkrieg's sort of the underdog anyway. So, yeah, that's fine. And he's going to win by submission on this occasion. We're going to have a promo where ECMO is going to come out and actually, let's not worry about that. Where ECMO is going to come out and put Michael Modest on notice. So basically, he's going to come out and say, my cousin was Chemo. You forced him to retire from this company. I'm here now to make your life a living hell. We also want Dave Batista's debut. Now, this is complicated because I don't know who he's going to face. Yeah, I should have brought in a babyface that he could beat, to be honest, for this show. So let's not go there yet. I think we'll do the match between. Yeah, we'll do a match between Ed Moretti and Wellington Wilkins Jr. Obviously, Wilkins Jr. just turned babyface. And this one's going to go 11 minutes, but it's going to be dominated by Moretti. But the winner, and this is going to be a flash pinfall finish, if I can find there it is. The winner is going to be due to a distraction. Wellington Wilkins Jr. is going to win due to the distraction of Blitzkrieg. So again, feud between Wilkins Jr. and Blitzkrieg continues. Oh, do I do this? No, I'm not going to do this. I don't think the reason I'm not going to do that is because I don't think it makes sense for Blitzkrieg to come out during a match um, earlier in the show when he's got a match of his own to participate in. And actually, what I might do is change this. So it's not going to be submission. This is going to be the distraction finish. Blitzkrieg distracted by Ed Moretti. So Ed Moretti gets a little bit of revenge on his rival as well here, and also keeps that feud going. Bring that up a little bit. So what does that mean we've got left here? Just no Michael Morris. What does that mean? He's not here. No, he's fine. There's no Michael Morris here. That might be because Michael Morris is supposed to be on screen for this, maybe. Yeah, he's got to be off screen. So no Michael Morris there. So he's back in there now. So we've got to come up with something between this lot. Maybe just have Ace Steel make his debut. But again, I've got no. He can face Kid Chaos. So I'll have Ace Steel make his debut against Kid Chaos. And see, this is going to be the problem. I'm actually going to start having to think about how I book these shows out. Ace Steel's going to win. No, hang on. Ace Steel's supposed to be a heel, isn't he? You see, what happens. I don't want him to be an old school face. So hang on. Let's first of all adjust his gimmick. He's going to be a heel. So I think I'm just going to have what can he do? He cannot dominant comedy, badass, legitimate, Weasley, underdog, offbeat, unstable. I think we'll just go standard, and I think he will be um just intense. Yeah, I think that's what I'm just going to call his gimmick is intense, and we'll make it a little bit creative and a little bit unique for him because he's doing a very standard gimmick. We're also going to turn him heel. Now let's make sure Ekmo's got the right gimmick as well. He's got again. I don't want him to have a gangster gimmick. Um, he can't do. He can dominant and badass styles well. So I think we're going to go badass, and he's going to go Avenger basically. So he's here to avenge his cousin. So that's what we're going to do, and we're not going to go too wild on him, and he's going to be a baby face. So that's how that's going to go. So that's put paid to my hopes of having Ace Steel versus Kid Chaos, because Chaos is a heel. We've got one baby face. It's Sean Stasiak. I guess theoretically he needs to win, doesn't he? Maybe he faces Modest in another title match. Or maybe we have Modest and Batista. No, we can't even do a tag team match because we only got one babyface. Yeah. I messed up a little bit here, I'll be honest. Didn't work out. Could I bring in a local worker? Is there anyone available? Is he a wrestler? No. No, we've got nobody we can bring in here. Absolutely no one. Bushwhacker hasn't even got any status whatsoever. He's retired from wrestling, and that's that. So, okay. First of all, I'm going to increase the length of this to be a bit more standard compared to what we usually do. We have to go with Buddy Wayne versus Blitzkrieg as the main event. I think if we don't do Moretti versus Wellington Wilkins Jr. here, we're missing a trick. So we've got to do that. And ECMO obviously has come out and put Morrison notice. I'm going to have to give Stasiak another singles match. Maybe he goes, okay, this is what we're going to do. Needs more. Sean Stasiak versus Ace Steel. So this is this one's a debut for Steel. This one's going to go to a double DQ or double count out type thing. It's going to start a feud between these two. So that's what we're going to do. This is going to be the opening segment of the show, and then afterwards, Sean Stasiak and Ace Steel are just going to keep fighting for all the way to the back. So now we've still got 7 minutes, but now I can be a bit more. Yeah, I can extend. So, for example, this one I can extend to 12 minutes. I think we'll extend that one by another minute. 12 again. I don't like having. I'm superstitious. I don't like having matches that are the same length as each other. That one can be 21 minutes. Um, I think after the main event, we'll have Michael Morris come out and say to Buddy Wade, "I'll see you next month," basically. And that should be the show. We should be ready to go. We're not going to be penalised. Booking analysis is that Blitzkrieg is injured, and that's fine. Buddy Wade, blah, blah, blah. No announcers. Fine. Right, we're going into the first show of today's episode. I feel like that must have been a bit of a either really dull or really, really weird because there was a lot of me just trying to think my way through what the hell was going on there and how we were going to make that happen. And I was reluctant just to give you a little bit more clarity about what I was thinking there because I realized some of it might just have come across as a real stream of consciousness. I didn't want to be in a position where Stasiak got another victory because if he did, then there would still be an argument next month that he should be the number one contender rather than Buddy Wayne. And so this is how my my ranking system is actually impacting the game somewhat because I'm trying desperately to ensure that I stick to it, and I do think it means that maybe the thinking is harder when you're booking. I think it does make booking harder, but I think it also provides a more satisfying output. So I was desperate for Stasiak not to not to win another match. But I also wanted to I needed to introduce Ace Steel, and I didn't want to use Dave Batista yet in a match. We've got him ready to go for a future show, I'm sure, at some point. And so there was just a lot of things I was trying to avoid all in one go there. But we've got to the end of it. Here we go into the show. 67 people again. I think that's the same as last month. And in a decent match, Sean Stasiak drew they still in 11:54 following a double count out. Segment rating of 28. Guess who didn't do something before? Which was to add the storyline between Sean Stasiak and Ace Steel, because they obviously now are going to be in a feud based on what and that's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm saying sometimes it can be really it can lead to a better end result because it forces you to be a bit more creative and potentially put people in a situation that you weren't previously intending. So after their match, the pair of them brawl all the way to the back, and this will just confirm that these two are now in a feud. And thankfully, because we can go back to the booking screen in TEW2020, as opposed to what used to be the case where you couldn't, I've now not wasted this as a story. And Ed Moretti then faces Wellington Wilkins Jr., and Ed Moretti gets his first victory in the Random Wrestling Revue with a big elbow drop. Ed Moretti at 24, Wellington Wilkins at 21, a segment rating of 23. Pretty decent. Moretti wins, first victory. And a reason, obviously, he was able to do that without Blitzkrieg kind of trying to help Wilkins Jr. is that Blitzkrieg is preparing for his main event for the number one contendership against Buddy Wayne. Then we get the angle where ECMO comes out and says, Michael Morris, you put my cousin out of this company. I'm now here to avenge my cousin. Segment rating of 24. We haven't yet kind of started the feud between them, but I'm sure that is going to come sooner rather than later. Then the main event was not good. Again, Blitzkrieg's injury is taking a toll. Blitzkrieg had a 27, Buddy Wayne a 28. So this could have been a much better match had it not been for Blitzkrieg's injury. Buddy Wayne wins in 20 minutes and 32 seconds by submission after a distraction from Ed Moretti. I mean, I don't like that someone wins with a distraction and a submission, but I guess you could argue that Blitzkrieg was in the ascendancy. Moretti comes out, allowing Buddy Wayne to apply, I don't know, a chicken win, for example, and get the win. So Buddy Wayne wins, but with a distraction from Ed Moretti. And then after the main event, Michael Morris comes out and says, "I'll see you next month, Buddy Wayne," for I guess, their fourth match against each other, maybe even their fifth match. I'm not actually sure at this point. Segment rating of 21. That ends the show. So overall rating is 23, a little bit better than last month, but we're still really struggling with Blitzkrieg's injury. And you'd have thought that these were being the 2 months that Blitzkrieg was going to be injured for and was scheduled to be injured for, that I would avoid putting him in the main events of both those shows. But no, that's not what I did. Actually, in fairness, Blitzkrieg was not in the main event of last month's show. But still, you'd have thought I'd have avoided this one as well, but I've not done. Uh, and that's why the rating's perhaps not as good as it could be. So I'm making a speech here. I think let's give Ace Steel his first props. We'll also do Sean Stasiak as well because he was really good, and their two segments were the best of the night. Wasn't a lot else to get excited about, Spy. So I'm going to give ECMO a compliment as well. There, introduce him to the roster, get him to feel a little bit about what we are doing. So that is another show. Again, we spent a good amount of money, but we're really not losing anywhere near. We're going to be making loads and loads of profit to the point where I don't even really need to look at this screen very much anymore. In the next few, yeah, going forward. Michael Wallace obviously made two defenses of the title, and our size, I assume, has not moved. No, it's still at 4. So that's all we need to do, and we'll fast forward then to the end of the current month. I guess now's a good time for me to get my standard plugs in for this episode, which I maybe went a bit over the top with last time around, but I was just eager to talk about everything that we've been doing because we've got so many things going on the YouTube channel, but also obviously the podcast continues to be weekly. Also, if you fancy it, there's a little Reddit channel that I've created, a subreddit. I'm not a Reddit user. You'll be able to very quickly identify from what I've just said, but I have a subreddit for the Random Wrestling Revue. So it'd be great if you could check that out. Constantly putting up content there in terms of discussion points and whatnot. It'd be great to see more people there, and great for people to contribute with their own topics of discussion. Um, Especially if you want to talk about this series. I am always eager to hear what people think of the series, what their thoughts are about how the stories are going, how the episodes are laid out, whether I should be doing something that I'm not doing. All that kind of good stuff is always really welcome because I am not, in any way a professional. I just do this in my spare time. I quite enjoy doing it, but I don't want to put something out that people don't find enjoyable. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. And if you do like this video, give us a like on the video itself because that helps other people find it. And also, if you've been enjoying the series and you're going to continue to follow along, make sure you subscribe as well. Though we have had a number of new subscribers as of late, which has been really, really great to see, really gratifying. So thank you very, very much. So in we go to May 1997, and I'm just match of the year candidate here. At last night's WCW Spring Stampede, Ric Flair and Rey Mysterio in a ladder match, 99. Ric Flair in a ladder match in 1997 against Rey Mysterio Jr. Sounds funny. Mega Power still together, obviously, against Arn Anderson and Lex Luger. That did pretty well, 94 rated match. And Sting retained the WCW World Heavyweight title against Ron Simmons in the main event. And that was a mistake by WCW because those other two matches would have made this whole much better show. I've not seen any additional stuff around the the sense that WCW's in turmoil. So maybe that's not a thing. I don't know. Um, Maybe that was just a mistake that the game made. I was looking at this for a minute. Nasty Boys are the new tag team champions in WCW, are beating Harlem Heat. Assume that was also at Spring Stampede. And this is an interesting one. This will be a mod created storyline. Despite claims that he was a born again Christian that was walking on a path apart from the one that plagued other members of his family, reports have recently surfaced that Jake Roberts may be, in fact, an alcoholic. Industry sources have said the drinking has gotten so bad that it has seriously begun to affect his ability to work. So that is part of the mod itself. Whoever modded this has sort of added this as a story to come out in May of 1997. Okay, so we need to put in our next show. Before I want to go any further, I'm not going to call it this, but I do want to see how many matches Buddy Wayne and Michael Morris have now had against each other because I can't remember, but it must have been quite a few because it's been, and that was always the intention, by the way. That was the central kind of story that this promotion was going to be built around was Michael Morris and oh god, this is really annoying. That's No, Michael Morris did not face. There we go. I was looking at Buddy Wayne versus Michael Cole matches. So yeah, they fought each other in the first show. They obviously had a couple of tag team matches. Okay, so this is saying that they've only had one singles match. No, two singles matches against each other. That seems wrong. But maybe they haven't. Maybe they've only had the two, which is cool. So the third match, finally, between Buddy Wayne and Michael Modest, will be what's up next. So that's cool. Okay, no, that's fine. So what are we going to call this next event? Is my We called it Mayhem last year. I was just thinking, should we call it Mayhem? Then I realized we called it Mayhem last year, which wasn't the best. That just shows you how little I've got in my mind in terms of show names and why I probably should have chosen to do all of these as annual events. But I quite like the idea of just doing bespoke names all the time, even if they are really, really awful. Maybe I'll just continue to play on the May theme in a different way. So we had Mayhem last time. I'm going to call it Mania this time. That's what we're going to call the next one. RWR Mania is the next show. And I think that will be my thing. My theme for May's show will be we're going to try and make a play on May in terms of creating different show names for that month. And are we gonna sign anybody else? I don't think we need to. We've just brought in Batista, ECMO, and Ace Steel in the last couple of shows, and neither Batista or ECMO has made their debut yet. So presumably one of them will. I think what I'm going to do, I am going to sign someone else. I made a decision here. I'm going to sign someone else. It needs to be a baby face. He might do actually. What's Ace Darling's? I mean, I know he's the first, but we've got Ace Steel. That's the only thing we have got Ace Steel. So I'm actually going to avoid signing Ace Darling as well. Too many people with the same name is not a good thing. Doesn't work for me. We're going to make this. I don't really care if he's really small. I want to make this person to be a kind of jobber, basically. Um, yeah, I need a jobber. A babyface jobber is what I kind of need. We previously had a babyface, sorry, a heel jobber for a number of months in Wilkins Jr., but he's obviously now turned babyface. We do need another one. Although I guess if Wilkins Jr. is maybe I don't need him. I mean, we've had the Moretti match, haven't we? So yeah, I think one match I am going to do at this show is Blitzkrieg versus Moretti. These two have been going around in circles for a while now since their first match. So I'm just making a note of that being a match. We've also got Wayne versus Modest, and I want Batista to make his debut in this one as well. So yeah, we're gonna have Batista versus Wilkins Jr. There you go. Those are the three matches. You heard it here first. Before the next episode even happens, that's what we're gonna do. In the meantime, that means I don't need another wrestler. So that's a really good way for me to move on. That's nice. So yeah, I guess this is the end of the episode, though. So we've come to the end of another episode. Thank you for watching. We're going to keep trying to keep this schedule of Tuesday and Thursday videos, and we've also obviously got every reviewing every match in WrestleMania history series, which is also going on at the moment. That's a new video every day, Monday to Friday. Check that out as well. But yeah, if you've got this far in the video, please give us a like and obviously subscribe to the channel because that really helps. And going forward with RWR, and what I'm going to start doing, I'm going to start showing the rankings because I'm very aware that I'm basing so many of my decisions on those rankings. It's getting a little bit difficult for me to convey my thoughts in a clear and succinct way without also showing you the rankings. So I'll try and come up with some nice presentation for the rankings uh, ahead of the next episode so that I can share those with you and yeah, we've got you've got a bit of something else to look at visually whilst I'm trying to convey my thoughts through the booking process. When we come to our next episode, obviously we'll present to you Mania, and yeah, I hope to see you all next time. Thank you very much for watching.